Okay, as you saw by the title of today's video, after our recent excursions into society, into the outside world, it's time for us to return to the magic and mystery of our inner life, into mysticism. That is to say, return inwards, because without the taking our internal life of soul, of our dreams and visions and intuition and synchronicity seriously, or being a regular part of our everyday life, we cannot heal. The two parts, the outside world and the inside world, the inner life of the spirit, have to be united. That's what it means to be whole. So as you saw by the title of today's video, I posted a chapter, a small chapter from my book, Where We Dreamed a Single Dream, yesterday on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. And the title says, "Drink, you can trust me. It's pure. It's where many men of old found their gold." I will explain what these words mean in a minute, but I'll read you the chapter. It's only, how long is it? It's about 2 pages long. So it's really the first time I'm reading from my book, Where We Dreamed a Single Dream, Quest Beyond the Veil of Tick of Time for the Divine Feminine, the Soul. And the title of this chapter is called The Cave Initiation. It was a very important part of my life. It happened many years ago now, in about 2009, I believe. And it happened when I lost touch, more or less, with my inner life, especially with intuition. And I had this dream, this vision, this dream really, which I will describe to you in a moment, to help me to recover that. Because without intuition, you cannot learn. It is the intuition, the soul, that teaches you. That's the spirit talking to you. That's what the inner voice means. Yeah. So I'll read you this chapter. And at the end of the chapter is the actual dream as it happened. So the chapter is called The Cave Initiation. You'll see in a moment why. Vision, dreams and archetypal experiences can be scary because in our secular culture, sterilized of all such mystic references, mythological stories, shamanic traditions and their initiations into mysteries of life, which were previously available for thousands of years in ancient Greece, Egypt and all shamanic cultures. To anyone who wanted to participate and experience our soul, the unity of eternity, are now completely missing. And this is true. This work is now in our secular culture nearly completely missing. That's why I do my work. I don't make any money really out of selling my books or any of this or articles that I write. It's just there to help people to realize that this very, very important part of our life, the inner life of the spirit, of the soul, which is missing in our culture, especially in our, I would say, not just the Western culture, which is really just the rational culture, the culture of the head, of the masculine mind, of the intellect. What you see is what you get, what you read, and all that stuff. The books and lectures and TV and what you're told from outside. The inner life, the direct experience, the direct ability to receive answers and wisdoms and help is missing. That's really not allowed. If you were to go to a Main Street psychologist and you start telling them that you had a vision or someone told you in your dream the solution to your sickness, they would label you as a psychotic and probably put you on tranquilizers. That's the reality we face right now. So this is important. That's the introduction that's what the introduction really is saying to this chapter. Also, there we go. Also, our mainstream psychology doesn't recognize the soul, let alone understand its mythopoetic language. So, people undergoing archetypal visions are left completely alone to face the unfamiliar language of the dimension of eternity. The soul has its own language, its own mythopoetic language, symbolic language. So it has, a dog means a certain thing, a tree means a certain thing, water means salt water means a specific thing, fresh water means specific thing, dark means specific, light means specific colors, blue, gold, they're all important. That's its language, symbolic language. And if you want to understand, then you've got to learn this language. And this language is learned. You need to read a little bit of depth psychology. Like I said before, you need to read a little bit of Jung, you need to read a little bit of Campbell. Then the way I learned is I'll go into Wikipedia and I'll go and, type in, for instance, a tree. And I wouldn't be so much interested in its biological reference to the tree, how many years it grows, how many years it takes for it to grow, and what it needs for the leaves to come out. That's not important to me. It's the cultural, the religious aspect of the tree, what the tree means to people throughout our history, throughout human development, as a religious symbol. And there in between these things, you will see that tree is the symbol of the tree of life. The tree of life that is common in all cultures, not just one culture, not like only in Norse mythology or in Celtic mythology or even in ancient Egypt, but the trees, for instance, in Middle Eastern mythology, such as the Christian tradition. The tree is, if you could say, the cross is the tree of life, on which Christ was crucified before he entered heaven. So you enter heaven by climbing the tree of life, as so many shamans in our culture upon the planet have said for thousands of years, really. Yeah. So the language of the soul is important to understand, and I go through all this in my book. And in my posts as well, the language of the soul, I explain the symbolic language of the soul. And after this chapter with the cave initiation, I have a chapter right after that explaining the meaning of the symbol, the cave, the tree, the water, and so on, okay? So, furthermore, to make the bad situation even worse, these mystic experiences are diagnosed by a rational medical system as schizophrenia. I was just saying that. Or depression, or enthusiastically named losing touch with reality. That's right. But once we familiarize ourselves with this strange symbolic language of the soul, do some research read about the real mystic experiences and know what to expect, the religious experience we live in our visions and dreams are nowhere nearly as frightening. Exactly. They are frightening because we don't understand them. Human nature is like this. All animal nature is like this. If you don't understand something, you haven't experiences, then it's scary. But once you familiarize yourself with this, you read a few people that had mystic experiences, read about the mystic experiences, that they've survived, that they return, and they are better for it. You're not going to be nearly as afraid. The real deep mystic experience, what I'm going to about to describe to you, the going into the cave, are really the process of dying. A lot of people, most of the people that are dying, the process of dying, and when they record their experiences, or the people that are near them record their experiences, what the dying are telling them are exactly the same as this experiences of what I'm about to tell you. Yeah. So, with a little preparation and reading, we took and get used to and even look forward to our quests beyond the wall of the tick of time, and quests to that most inward center where many of old experienced the gold, the mystery and magic of the numinous. And the mystery wisdom from the depth presents itself when we no longer must have more of the world, and no longer fearing death, we just dive into our most inward darkness, and then you never know what wisdom will just speak itself creatively from the depths of this abyss. So like I said, the real archetypal dreams and visions are really the process of dying. That's what the people when they're dying, that's what they experience. It's identical. It was Stanislav Grof in his studies, in his holotropic breathing studies, and with people, and then previously with LSD. And when the people go into these really deep states, when they have these really big experiences, that's exactly what they experience. And he said that what enlightenment and the process of dying are identical. That is to say, where you go when you have these visions, with the archetypal visions, to that deep collective unconscious, the center, and what the dying experiences are exactly the same thing. Yeah. So this is the beginning of what had happened previously to this dream, to this experience I'm about to tell you. It was again during one of those times of incubation, that mystical time of completely turning inwards to the abyss, where surprisingly often the world of masculine head's sanity ends, and our feminine madness of intuition, we call soul, takes over, that I had an answer to the mystery of the cave revealed in this dream. I was also looking for the meaning of the cave. I had a dream much earlier before, where I was standing in front of a cave, but I didn't enter the cave. I was afraid to enter the cave, and this time I entered the cave. So this was revealed to me what the meaning of the symbol of what the soul is trying to teach me, what the cave really means. Yeah. So in the dream, I wake up, left my bed in the middle of the night, and walked towards the furthest wall from the door, where the wall magically dissolved into a bright fog or mist, through which I walked deeper into the unknown. Once on the other side, I found a rural setting bathed in brilliant and blinding sunshine, which left me sightless, and it took me a while to reopen my eyes and see again. But when my eyes finally adjusted to the light, I saw a beautiful woman dressed in white, self-luminous dress and long flowing hair standing there, already waiting for me. This description of walking through walls and through the mist is not just particular to me. Many have experienced the same thing. If you go on to the other side, this is sometimes called afterlife, to the place where the dead go, you go through mist. You go through a wall might dissolve. In ancient caves, like in the Dordogne, we're talking here 30,000 years ago, 35,000 years ago, in France, for instance, you see these hands that are painted on the cave wall, right? So that's what they're trying to do. By painting this cave, they are trying to symbolically reach over the other side of the wall, to the other side, to the side of the spirit, to enter through the other side to the spirit. That's what the meaning of the hand painted on the walls in those ancient caves. That's what they're really trying to do. Okay, so when I went through this wall, to the other side, for instance, to the side of the spirit, the guide is already waiting for you. It's in all mythology. As soon as you begin the quest and you enter this region of the unknown, a guide, a helper is already waiting for you to the other side. Yeah, like for instance in Lords of the Ring, when Bilbo is ready to take the adventure, who shows up? Gandalf. He's the guide. He's the one that is going to take him over there. So when you're ready, the guide comes. Yeah. The same with the Matrix. When Neo wakes up, who's ready on the other side to take him out of the Matrix? Exactly. It's exactly the same thing. Morpheus is ready on the other side. Yeah. That's his guide to the other side. So when you're ready and when you make the first step, you walk over through the wall. To the other side, maybe a door, maybe a wall, maybe inside a cave, maybe through a landscape. You leave the city behind and you go into a landscape, to a rural landscape, or like me, through a mist. There's the guide. waiting for you to take you deeper. And so with me, the guide is already, so she's already waiting for me. Without hesitation, this mystery woman took my right hand and said, "Come, I will show you something." She gently pulled me behind her onto a small trail, which I knew I had walked before many times and which looked to be miles long. But only after a few steps later we were already at our destination, at the foot of a great tall mountain. So we ended up, this is the mountain, this is the mystical mountain again. Here my guide walked us into a small fissure. We walked into a small fissure, a cave opening hidden behind some trees. Having walked inside the mountain, we discovered a few stone slabs and entered inside what should have been a dark cave, but which, as if the rock walls were alight, was magically incandescent. It was alight. So you think you're walking into a darkness, you're not. You're walking into another place of luminosity. So we've entered the cave. We continued deeper inside this magic cave. My guide led me through a long and self-alight corridor to our deeper and unknown goal, and while this passage seemed to get narrower with every step, it was never too small for us to walk upright. Here I noticed that the air felt musky, more damp and cold than the outside dry climate. And the deeper we went, the stiller and silent the surrounds seemed to be. I not only heard it loud in my ears, but also felt my own pounding heart exploding in my chest. It wasn't really fear, for after all I had already experienced such deep vision dreams before. It was more anticipation of what was to come, what mysteries this lady saw would reveal to me. So there's anticipation. There's also a little bit of fear because, every time you experience this, I've experienced this many times, but every time you experience it anew, it's a challenge because you're going, like I said, you're going beyond the wall of reality. You're going to the spiritual. You're going to where the dead go. So there's always a fear associated with that. Your body remembers, your body knows. I didn't have to wait too long for my prize, because once we made it past a small bend in the narrowing stone passage, we suddenly entered a large chamber, the size of a small temple or perhaps a two-story house. Here my beautiful guide let go of my hand, turned to me and proudly swept the inside panorama with her free hand. It was actually a huge opening. It didn't seem like it, but it was a huge opening. You could easily put a freestanding 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom home, two-story inside. It felt like it was small, but it was huge, like a huge cathedral, natural cave cathedral. So if you can imagine that, it's a little bit difficult for me to read because it's dark. I might come a little closer. I stood there in awe in the mystery and magic of this mythological location. The centerpiece was an enormous flowering tree. It was rooted in the cave stone floor with great big and gnawed roots, the living serpents coming out and returning back into the dark ground. So there is your tree of life. I was just talking about the symbology of the tree of life. You have this in every culture. You have this in ancient Greek, classic culture, where the Dodona was a famous place, an oracle to Zeus, and the Dodona was famous for its oak trees. There's the tree of life. In ancient Egypt, you still have the frescoes on the tombs. The lady of the tree, she dishes out water of life to the dead that go to the afterlife. There she is in the tree. That's the same lady that is guiding me to this cave and to the tree of life. It's the same mythological figure. The one that you see in the frescoes in ancient Egypt that guides the dead to the afterlife. And she's going and she gives water usually from a jug or from her breast for the dead to drink. You will see what this lady the one that brought me into this cave before this tree of life, what she's going to do to me in a moment. Yep. So there's the tree. Gazing wide-eyed at the miracles I saw there, first I heard it, and looking in the direction of the sound, I saw a small stream trickle from beneath these timeless tree roots, no wider than arm's length, a well of living water pouring from some unknown depths, bubbling up to the surface where it turned into a small creek, winding its way the entire length of the cave's floor and seemingly flowing in the direction of the grotto's entrance. So there's the water. I was just telling you that the lady of the Tree of Life, for instance, in the frescoes of ancient Egypt, in the tombs, she's there. She's on the tree. She dishes out the water from the jug. There's the tree. There's the lady, and there's the water. It's exactly same setting. It's archetypal. See, and that's my dream. Everyone has the same. Anyone can have the same experiences because it lives in you. The collective unconscious, the archetypal, is present in you right now. But you have to be able to. How can I express this? Let go of the world long enough to be able to experience this. And to be able to experience this, you have to be not afraid and want to experience this. That requires incubation. That is to say, bringing all your energy, all your life inward so that you have nothing, absolutely nothing. You want nothing to do with the outside. It's the same thing as saying you're ready to die. But that's the journey to the center. That's what you have to do if you want to experience this at least once in your life. That's the way it goes. Yeah? Okay. So there we go. I've found she took me to the cave. I found the tree. Now I found the water, the water of life, the living well. Contemplating the mighty tree again, I saw there was an opening high above in the cavern's ceiling. Through it, the blue sky was drenched in sun's light, which poured over the treetop that extended beyond the opening, high into the perfect blue sky. About halfway up the tree trunk, where the trunk ended up in the and is divided into branches. That's where the tree trunk ends and the branches begin. Yeah. Many branches. There grew a magnificent and enormous white lily with a golden stem in the flower center. There's the center. There's another image of the center. A flower, a flowering flower, a white flower with a golden stem coming out of the center. That's another very archetypal image of the center, reaching the center, the very center of life. Yeah. As I looked at all this and saw more than I can put into words, my female guide walked into the sparkling stream below the tree, spooned up some of its water into a goblet, and handed it to me, saying, "Drink, you can trust me, it's pure, for it's where many men of old found their gold." See, it's exactly the same archetypal mythological image. Like I said, like if you find that in ancient Egypt, where the lady of the tree, the soul, gives out water to the soul of the departed so that can make it to the afterlife, or mine experience in this book where we dream the single dream of going to that cave and going and seeing what she wanted me to see. The cave, the tree, the water, the female figure drinking of the water. They're all mythological. You find that in all mythologies. In Celtic mythology, there's not a cup. There are cups as well, but there are cauldrons of renewal. That's a cauldron of renewal. When you drink of that water, you renew yourself. What she was saying to me, drink, it's pure, it's many men of old found their gold. That's the gold. And water of life is your intuition. And that's what gives you gold. And gold is inside, consciousness. It was thanks to my recovery of this intuition again, of this consciousness, that eventually I become conscious of what I am. God, like everybody else, divine. I didn't know when I had this experience, I didn't know this yet. It was still to come. It was still a few years away. But I needed to reactivate my intuition, go to that very deep, deep, deep center, the collective unconscious, to where all the people go if they want to learn on their own, experience of their own, what we really are, to that tree of life, to the very center. And to the keeper of that tree, because that's what she is. She is the keeper of the tree. That's the feminine. Yeah? Do you remember me telling you a story about that ancient Greek Parmenides and his poem and his journey to the goddess, where he's taken by the mares, and the mares in a chariot, and the charioteers are women, the women that belong to the goddess, and he enters through the gates. There's the gates, the same as me walking through the wall that disappears in mist, and then he finally enters the center. And the goddess greets him and tells him that everything that he sees is, that everything is hers, if you like. Everything is consciousness. Yah will tell you what you need to know, that people are unconscious. Most people are unconscious, but you need to bring this message to them, that everything that you see is, that is to say, everything that you see is conscious. It's me, the divine or spirit. It's the same message with this, drink, it's pure, where many men of old found their gold. This is the place where you find consciousness. This is where you come to get enlightened. Yeah, when you become, who you really are. If you understand mythology, if you understand fairy tales, if you study a little bit of depth psychology, all this will be familiar to you. It's not any different than what Black Elk experienced, the Sioux holy man, where 9 years old he was when he had this great vision, and that's where his ultimate place in the vision. Do you remember that? Where he reached? The tree of one mother and one father. There's the tree of the union of the opposites, where the spirit and the matter are one. And there he saw, what did he see? Hoop of all nations interconnected as one nation, of our oneness. And in this dream, it's our oneness there as well. Why? Because all these images, the tree, the cave, the water, the gold, that are all common to all of humanity. If you make that connection, you're going to have you're going to have a realization that we are all one. They're not different. There is no differences between us. I had this realization even before I had this dream. I have shared this in a video as well, where I go over into the island, and the great big voice says, "This is where we are all one, and there shouldn't be any further divisions." It's exactly the same place. All archetypes were there, images of all archetypes. I'll share with you again, maybe in the next video. I'll remind you of that vision, because it's very important in our particular time in history right now, where people are dividing themselves even further. The West wants, divides itself from the East, wants to conquer he wants to be a hegemon and wants to dominate all cultures, that it's better than others. It's not. We are all underneath all these divisions, which are artificially created by politicians and religions and traditions and so on, ideologies. But underneath all this, we are all branches of the single tree of life, of that tree of life that I saw there. And the water is sparkling and bubbling up from its roots. Yeah. So I'll finish this chapter for you. So there she is. She told me, "Drink. You can trust me." She walked into the stream. She grabbed a goblet. I can't remember what kind of goblet. She grabbed the goblet. She filled it with water from this stream and handed it to me. And this is what she said: "Drink. You can trust me. It's pure, for it's where many men of old found their gold." Yeah, gold being consciousness, wisdom. That everything that you're divine, everything is spirit and divine. You need intuition to get this. I walked over to where she remained standing in the living water, took the goblet in my hands, and pressing my lips to the cool cup, drank of its liquid contents. In that sacred moment of returning to the ground of being from which I and all come and go, not when dead and it's too late, that's important, but while still conscious and alive and being initiated there by the dark goddess into her mysteries of the unity of all life, that even in plain water there is the gold, the spirit, her as the soul or consciousness that supports the universe in life and soul life, and awakening to identifying with her, this feminine image of soul as our greater soul, the divinity, the all in us all, and my inner voice, the companion and guide in my life, in this moment of fulfilling our life's destiny known as the mystic wedding. I suddenly woke from the dream with the words still ringing in my ear, drink, it's where many men of old found their gold. And that's it. It's within you. That's the whole point of my messages and my posts and my books, where we dream the single dream or mystic soul, my videos that I do now. That it's all within you, and we are all the same mystery, the same spirit embodying in manifesting itself, embodying itself, manifesting itself in infinite number of ways. There's not better people, there's not chosen people, there is not chosen religion, or some are chosen for the second coming of Christ and rapture. This complete nonsense that we are hearing from the fanatics in Christianity and in Zionism and so on, in Judaism. It's complete nonsense. That's just inferior complexes talking. Underneath all this, there's just one single reality, and it's the goal, the consciousness that it's all spirit, it's all God, including you. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share with you today. It's a little difficult for me to read. I don't read publicly at all when I give talks or even do videos like I'm doing it for you now. I usually just talk. It's a lot easier for me to talk. Reading is difficult, so I'm not used to it, so it kind of sounds a bit awkward. But the more I read no doubt publicly, the more I'll get better at it. But anyway, this is what I wanted to talk to you about today, just a chapter from my book. Please buy my book. If you don't need it, but you already know, then perhaps someone might need it. It's a great book. It will give the person a journey of my own personal journey into enlightenment, which is an archetypal journey. Everyone experiences nearly exactly the same. Just the details are different. The way that they experience, the way that they have the dreams, the visions, time in their life. Jung experienced exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same process as I did. If you read his book, Dreams, Visions, Dreams, Reflections, I think it's called. It's exactly the same process, just different dreams, and he had a different geographical location. He lived in Switzerland, and he built his own little center on an island and on a lake. There is the living on the lake. There's the fresh water, the intuition, what he needed, and he had his own guide, Philemon, a pagan kind of winged spirit old man that he would give him us answers and instructions, just like my lady so has been giving me instructions for who knows, from very, very early age, in my life, and the information that I need to be able to do these videos for you, as I feel that she's with me right now, my inner self. That's my inner self. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.